What is going on, guys? Welcome to my very first drawing video. I'm super excited about this one because I've never really had the ability to make drawing videos, even though it's something I've always wanted to do. But I finally got a drawing tablet, so I decided I would start off with redesigning old Pokemon or new Pokemon in general that I don't really like. So sorry for this intro. I don't really know how to get animated GIFs of like Pokemon sprites to put in the beginning to make a nice fancy intro like most people do. So you just have to look at this boring still image. So I guess we'll just hop right into it now so I can save you the save you from having to just stare at a blank screen. So my first one is Electivire, and what I want to do with this design, or with my first two designs really, because the first two are going to be Electivire and Magmortar, I just felt like the evolutions of these Pokemon didn't really match what they were before, so I did kind of want to bring them back to almost feel like an older Pokemon, like they could have came in a gen before or something. They are a little different. They don't quite fit into the criteria. They're a little longer, a little bit more complicated shapes than the original Pokemon, but I still wanted to keep them more coherent with their pre-evolutions. Like, I just feel like Electivire in this case just doesn't match Electabuzz. And I know that their pre-evolutions, like Magby and Elekid, they kind of felt different as well. But they still have that classic feel, and I guess I grew up with the original Pokemon, so in my heart, that's kind of the design style I like the most. So I kind of wanted to try and make these redesigns that I'm doing kind of match what I prefer in Pokemon designs, which is not to say it's necessarily what is right when it comes to Pokemon design, but it is personally what I prefer. So, you know, and if anybody likes these Pokemon, if anybody likes Electivire or Magmortar or you know, whatever, that's totally fine. I mean, diversity is great, and designs are out there for different people, right? Like, just because I don't like it doesn't mean it isn't for someone else, and that's great. But I think these designs are bad, so I'm gonna redesign them. Yeah, so with this Electivire, I kind of brought it back to being like, you know, having his long tail. Oh, my cat's meowing, if you can hear that. Kind of brought it back to like having a tail. I got rid of the two like plug things on his head. I kind of did like him having almost like antenna though, so I did try to keep something similar to that with the two like almost like extra fur at the top of his ears, and they just have like a ball at the end. There was no real like coherent reason for that. It was just I kind of liked how it looked. Which I kind of feel like is more in line with older Pokemon anyway. It was kind of just like, let's see what looks good on this, you know. You know, maybe you're not a huge fan of Electabuzz or Magmar, which I get. They're not necessarily the coolest designs, but you know, the OG Pokemon, especially the OG 150 and the second gen, they have a really special place in my heart. So for me, I like them, but also you'll see in the background of all three of these drawings that it was already sketched on paper. It's because I released a video a couple months ago that you definitely didn't see. It was kind of just like a little teaser of saying like, hey, I'm going to redesign Pokemon and I'm going to do it digitally, but I don't own a digital tablet, so or a drawing tablet, so yeah, here's the under drawings. So I just took a picture of them, imported them over into Clip Studio, which is what I use, and I just started drawing over them and finished them up. At the time of recording this video, these were pretty much the first digital drawings I had ever done. So I mean, it's really sped up, so maybe you won't notice me mess up a bunch, but I really don't know how all the like convenient little tricks that make digital drawing so convenient. But with the like Huey on Canvas 13, actually going from paper to drawing on it was really easy. Like it felt very one-to-one, but then when it came to like coloring and like layers and stuff, I was really lost in like these 3 drawings really shouldn't have taken that long, even with coloring, but I edited down this like 16 minutes of now footage from 8 hours of like just me futzing around and like trying to figure out how layers work and how to like color properly and like the best ways to like blend the shadows and the highlights and like trying to figure out the best ways to do everything digitally. So I mean, honestly, if you have any tips, like I've done a lot more drawing now and I have figured some things out, and I'm trying to teach myself how to paint digitally like properly now, like actual like portfolio professional level painting. Like that's what I'm trying to do now, and it's an entirely different world for me, so it's a lot, man. So if you have any tips on that kind of stuff or like really good sources to learn from, I would love to hear about it. Yeah, because I'm kind of happy with how these turned out in the end, but there's still such a long way for me to go when it comes to drawing digitally. So yeah, I mean, if you have any like sources of knowledge or anything, like any like YouTubers or anything that are really good at teaching this kind of stuff, I'd really appreciate it. Just being able to watch a video and get some tips, maybe it'll help me out. Everyone's style is different, but it could help me out. Also, the reason there's a small if here, I haven't touched on that yet. The idea of this guy was kind of like he's supposed to be like a kind of like a thug, you know, and like, so the idea was that the small lives, they kind of like hunt small lives to drink their olive oil, kind of whatever, and the idea was they kind of like get drunk off of it. You'll see at the end I try to like play around with like kind of having some oil dripping out of his mouth, but it kind of just looked weird, and I definitely didn't go with it because it looked dumb. But yeah, that was kind of the idea with the small live. I realized I did not touch on it at all. So yeah, that's why he's supposed to be kind of like a Bancho. So I wanted him to be like rivals with Pangoro, because Pangoro doesn't put up with bullying and stuff. And then like I wanted Electivire to kind of be the opposite. He kind of is the bully. He like bullies small lives and he gets like drunk off the royal and stuff. So yeah, I thought that would be a cool little Pokemon dynamic there, because I think one of the coolest things in Pokemon is when Pokemon have interactions with one another, or one's the hunter, one's the prey, whatever. Yeah, there it is. There's the stupid, yeah. But anyways, let me know what you think of this. I would really appreciate hearing any feedback, what you guys think of my redesigns, because I really like them, but maybe you like the originals more. Yeah, so let me know. And here is Magmortar. So with Magmortar, again, same thing as Electivire. I felt that the actual Magmortar, the real design, the official design, just strayed away from Magmar so much. I really wanted, they kind of made his beak like lips. You know, it was kind of weird. I don't know. I really don't like the Magmortar design. But I wanted to give him his beak back, and although I'm pretty sure he's supposed to be like a platypus or something, I'm sorry, I didn't go do the research on what they're actually supposed to be based on, but I get some like platypus vibes when it comes to Magmar. So even though he's that, I still gave him kind of like the fleshy nostril part above his nose, which is really a bird thing, but I thought it actually added a lot, because I've kind of stripped down the actual Magmortar design. I made it a lot more basic and I think in some ways less complex, in some ways more complex, honestly. But when it came to the face, it was less complex, and I felt like it needed something else there. And I also did like that they did add a third color, which I basically stripped this entire design of, except for that strip on his nose. But I did also want to keep it, I don't show it in this, unfortunately. I did have it in the original sketch. On the bottom of his hands, he does still have holes that he shoots fire blasts from, so that is still there, but it isn't just like a big cannon that his hand transforms into. And I wanted to kind of make it look like he's always hot on the inside, like he's smoldering all the time. So I thought the smoke coming in from his mouth would be a really cool touch. Hey, future me here, interjecting for a quick second. Sorry for any audio hiccups you heard in the last little bit. I started like stuttering a lot because my brain was moving way faster than my mouth, and then I ended up explaining why I was stuttering. So I just like cut out a big chunk of stuff and tried to merge some stuff together as good as I could. So yeah, so any like audio hiccups you might have heard, sorry for it, but it definitely ended up being better in the end than it was originally. It was really bad. So yeah, that's why any of that's there. Sorry. Long story short, I had a guideline for like things I wanted to talk about. I lost it, and now I'm just like going off the cuff. I'll try and make scripts for future videos. Here you'll see me playing around with this fire way more than I should, just because I really didn't know how to render this digitally. Like, this was so out of, like, I wanted to make it simple but also detailed enough that it wasn't just like 3 colors laid on top of each other. So that's why I made it like 10 colors layered on top of each other. No, but really, I hope that seeing me do this kind of inspires people that are kind of newer to art or newer to digital art or whatever, because, you know, there's a lot of steps along the way. It's a big learning curve. Like, for me personally, I've been drawing my entire life, and I still have like a long way to go. What I do in this video is not necessarily everything I'm capable of, but yeah, like, there's always something to work at. Nobody starts just being good at art. And here's my problem with layers, as you saw there. It was just like, I had to like, I ended up coloring on the wrong layer and then had to go back and erase on the other layer. Yeah, it was a big learning process. There's a lot of learning going on when it comes to this digital art. I really like how the head turns out, actually. I think the fire is pretty cool on the head when I'm done with it. The tail I was never happy with. Somehow I couldn't make it look the same as the head. Even at the end of the video, you'll see when I'm done with it all, I even go back and touch up this drawing a little bit more, because after I was done recording, I realized there was a few things. Like look at this arm. You see how it's like, it balls out before it reaches the shoulder? I don't like that. And I don't fix it before the video's over, so I did go back for the final design and touched it up and kind of fixed the fire on the tail a little more, even off recording, even after spending like probably 20 minutes on it right there. And I also fix up the arm there, so if that's bothering anybody, I do fix it. There's also this color here on the main body that I'm shading right now, the like beigey color and the orange on top. They're really awkward and don't line up with the body properly. I do go back and fix that a little bit, but even at the end, it still doesn't look perfect. But all in all, I'm pretty happy with this. I really do. I feel like it is more akin to the original Magmar, and I like it. I like the cool, slender, sleek design. His stance was also kind of more inspired by like baboons. I know that has nothing to do with like the source material or anything, but I just felt it felt right to me. I really liked I wanted him to be nice and long and sleek, and I thought like a baboon stance would allow for that, because baboons have that big upper body and the slender waist and stuff and the long tails, and that was pretty much exactly what I wanted for this. So yeah, for some reason he has a slightly monkey design, but I like it. So yeah, that is Magmortar, and again, let me know what you think, please. If you like the original design more, definitely let me know. I would love to hear that. But if you like my design more, hey, maybe leave a little like or something. But yeah, and now the last one is completely divergent from the first two. It's Calyrex. I absolutely hate Calyrex. I hate the big ball head. I don't like the balls around his neck. So I really wanted to touch on the rabbit design more. To keep him a little more interesting and give him that same width around his neck, under his head, I gave him a big fur collar. I just feel like that's way more fitting, and maybe again it's more of like an older Pokemon design thing, but to me that just looks way better than the like Triforce balls he had on his head. And I wanted to keep a design here on his body because I got rid of all the Triforces, so I wanted to give him something, and it's more of like that English Fleur thing, whatever it's called. I don't know, but I wanted to keep it English, because the Triforces have nothing to do with that. Like, I don't even know why they're in it. So that on his belly was just kind of to keep it in touch with the English inspiration of the Galar region. And instead of his big crown, a big literal crown on his head, I wanted to give him this like kind of glowing celestial kind of floating crown above his head, because I think that fits in a lot better. Like, I get the big brain thing kind of fits in with his psychic typing, but I wanted to, or you know, his whole thing is like going into people's minds and speaking through them and stuff. So I felt that this kind of fit more into that kind of thing, having something floating around his head. And keeping it in line with a crown. And his cape, it's kind of similar, but I wanted it to be like a nice long drape. I just thought this looked way better. That's basically what this whole thing is just what I think looks better than the original designs. The original design has these other colors inside, and I felt mine looked too boring, so I did want to keep like an extra ring of color inside the cape as well. I originally opted for a lighter blue, but ultimately I thought it would work better with the fleur on his chest or his stomach, and also it was just it worked better with the rest of the color scheme. And yeah, I mean, really, that's it. I really don't like Calyrex, and I wanted to do him some justice, because I think as a Pokemon conceptually, I think he's really cool. And I don't understand why they gave him this little short, dumpy cape and this big, like, I do get the crown thing. I do like the big, material crown that they wear. I get it. I just don't think it looks good. I don't think it works for what this Pokemon is. I don't understand like the 4 antler ear things they gave him. Why not just give him 2 rabbit ears? Like, so yeah, I think this is a lot better. Again, you know, let me know what you think, because I think most people are not super into Calyrex, but if he is for you, let me know if I did him justice. You know, if you do like Calyrex, let me know if you think I did him justice, or let me know if you think that you like the big crown head he has and stuff. I think this really brought the piece together, the like shading of the ears that went down and stuff. This I was the most happy with. It was the third one I did out of them all. They're in order of when I drew them, but this I just feel like I knew exactly what I wanted from this one, and like I think this looks great. This is, so yeah, definitely let me know, because for me, this looks so cool. I think if this would have hit it out of the park with fans if this was the actual Calyrex design. I just think this is, I'm tooting my own horn a little bit, but I think this is a super sick design, and I really do wish he looked like this. This is the only light that I did like on the rims of the Pokemon, the blue from his crown, and kind of makes me wish I did it on the other ones, because I think it looks really good with that blue tint on it. But yeah, that is pretty much right there. That is my 3 redesigned Pokemon. You know, if you like them, feel free to give the video a like. Let me know which one of my redesigns you personally like the most, and if you really enjoy the video, please consider leaving a subscription. I'm really bad at YouTube outros. See ya, everybody.